Welcome to the Cronkite Studios. This is Cronkite Sports Live. So glad to have you with us for our spring season. I'm Andrew Chapman, and look who's at the desk. You've seen him before. It's Gavin Shaw.
You know, Andrew, my primary concern today, none of this was written in under 140 characters. I didn't see one emoji in the script. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this with you.
Well, we'll try and write the highlight reads like tweets, and we'll do our best. And now we start at a spot that's very similar to our fall season, not because we want to, but because we have to. Just as the folks on campus were trying to close the book on the ASU football season, off-season headlines made Sun Devil fans sigh once more. Offensive coordinator Chip Lindsey has announced his departure to the University of Auburn to become their offensive coordinator after one season commanding the offense in Tempe. Now, Todd Graham has a number of position coaches that he could place in the new opening. Nonetheless, ASU is left moving on to their third offensive coordinator in as many seasons. More to come from this as we will tell you what that means to ASU recruiting later on in the show.
As Jeff Van Gundy is to the NBA, Drew Andre is to ASU women's basketball, and Charlie Turner Thorne's girls, they have the top defense in the Pac-12. How have they gotten that done?
You know, that all starts with the leadership of Charlie Turner Thorne herself. When she recruits players, she cares more about the tenacity that they're going to bring to the court as opposed to really even the skill level that they have. Now, they also have that as well. But I mean, even if you just look at some of the numbers, they dominate rebounding, they dominate against how many points they allow each game. And then one number that really sticks out at me, it's a three-point percentage defensively. Other teams are only shooting 25% from behind the arc against this team. And it's not only the on-ball defense that they're able to do, but it's that help defense. And I have a couple plays here that we're going to look at, and I'll show you why they're so successful. If we pause it right here, you can see Sydney Goodson, Sabrina Haynes, Riley Richardson, all in good positions to guard. You see both of them in denial position, and then it's Quinn Dornstadter, just one-on-one. She can take care of that easily. We fast forward to the third quarter now. And you can see Alexis Wheeland's going to get the ball right here. She can shoot. Even though Sophie Bruner and Robbie Ryan get caught behind that screen, there's still great denial defense. And then no one wants to shoot that except Stephen Curry, maybe. We fast forward to the fourth quarter now, and just another example of how good this off-ball defense is. Even though these two are circled, doing their job defensively, look at Sophie Bruner down there. Man, ball, help. That's the name of the game, and they have the fundamentals that it takes. Kayla Haley, no good and not a chance there. It's the fundamentals that Charlie Turner Thorne brings to this team defensively, and that's why they can stop basically any team they play.
So everyone and their weird uncle knows that defense wins championships, but apparently it doesn't win games against elite Pac-12 competition. They've lost 2 against Stanford, 1 against Washington. For lack of a better term, what's the Mike's magic stuff this ASU women's team needs to find to beat the best of the pack?
It's simple. There's just 2 things that they're going to have to do. And first off, I don't want to say that they're doing poorly because both of their losses have been against 2 teams that are in the top 10, but free throws, free throws, free throws. That's the key. Sophie Bruner, Quinn Dornstadter, they get to the line a lot, but they don't have those numbers that they want from the free throw line. As a team, they're only shooting 67% from the free throw line. They need to get that up into the 70s if they want to beat these teams that are just as good as them, if not even better. And then another thing, shooting from behind the three-point range. They do a good job of defending it, not so good at shooting the three. Now, they don't have a Katie Hempen type this year, but I think there's some players who can step in, and if they can at least knock down more than what they are right now, 3 a game, it could be successful.
So the Sun Devils, an opportunity to remedy this issue tonight. They take on 12th ranked UCLA in Westwood. How do you see that one going down?
It's not going to be easy. UCLA hasn't lost at home this season, but this is a game that both teams come into it know how important it is. Basically, whoever wins this game right now, they're sitting at 4 and 5 in the Pac-12. Whoever wins it is going to go ahead of the other. And it's not going to be easy, though. Jordan Canada of UCLA, one of the best point guards in the Pac-12, and Charlie Turner Thorne said that it's going to be hard to play against her because she is so dominant at facilitating the ball. It's going to take Riley Richardson, Kiera Russell, the point guards defensively to really do their job. And then I also want to see the seniors step up. Sophie Bruner, see maybe a double-double. There's no reason she can't have 20 points and 10 rebounds in this game to help them get a win.
All right, so want to find out how that one goes, want to find out everything about this ASU women's basketball team, check out all of our coverage at cronkitesports.com.
There was little to no holiday break for ASU hockey. And contrary to the popular phrase, new year, new me, 2017 has brought more of the same. Top 25 opponents. Ohio State was one of those, and after a 6-1 loss 2 weekends ago, the Sun Devils rallied a shootout win over the number 10 Buckeyes. However, the match was an exhibition match, so in the record books it goes down as a tie. And while ASU continues to battle the learning curve that is Division I hockey, new leadership has emerged. Our hockey play-by-play man, Tyler Paley, introduces us to a local sophomore making a mark on his hometown club.
Arizona State hockey is now in year 2 as a Division I NCAA program. There have been growing pains along the way, But ask anyone on the team, and they'll tell you success is imminent. That goes for sophomore forward Anthony Croston, a Phoenix native who mentally committed to ASU before he knew a varsity program was even a remote possibility.
When my dad moved here for his job, that's what brought me here, and I played here when I was U16, U18 when I was young, and then I moved away, and then when the recruiting process started for college, I talked to a few schools, but I just, I had this thought in the back of my mind that ASU might become Division I, and it ended up happening, and I held out and ended up committing here. It was pretty cool.
Midway through his second year, Croston was named an alternate captain, a role that he and ASU head coach Greg Powers don't take lightly.
He just does everything right. Most importantly, away from the rink. He's 24/7, wants to build this program the right way with a solid foundation. And then when you look at how he plays on the ice, he's the most responsible two-way forward. He's always on the right side of the puck. He dedicates himself. He always comes in, crushes our fitness tests, and always places first in everything.
Croston, who ranks 4th on the team in total points this year, will lead his team to Connecticut this weekend to take on number 17 Quinnipiac. In Tempe, Tyler Paley, Cronkite Sports.
All right, thank you so much, Tyler. It's now time for our Sun Devil social media segment. We welcome in Chaz Frazier. And Gavin, this is a little weird. I'm used to looking at you instead of having you next to me, but Chaz is looking pretty sharp. Does he have your blessing to take over Tweets of the Week?
I was initially disoriented, but now I feel like I'm looking in the mirror. Chaz, take it away.
3.5 years, Gavin. 8 submission process to get the anchor job. I hope my process is a little expedited, to say the least, but you did a great job grabbing content for us. With that, let's start with the first tweet. Todd Graham with the Sun Devil football. Three former Sun Devil football players are representing the Sun Devils in the Super Bowl. Who do you guys got winning?
I mean, I have the New England Patriots. I'm pulling for guys like DJ Foster, who in their first year in the NFL are already competing for a big, shiny Super Bowl ring. You have guys like Tony Romo still sitting around trying to get to that moment of their career. So shouts to them. And Bill Belichick, if you're looking for somewhere else, ASU does have that open offensive coordinator spot come the offseason.
There we go. Now let's go to the second tweet. You got a lot of heat on Twitter, a lot of likes. Look at this. 4 U of A players, and look at the baby. She's distraught. I don't think she really likes those U of A players right there.
No, she's not happy about it, but I have an alternative theory as to why. Brooke says she's an ASU fan. I think she's actually a U of A fan, and she sees those 4 players, and she's like, this is why we only won 3 football games this year. Top that off with the fact that you might inevitably have to live in Tucson. I get the tears.
I don't know. You're the expert, so you may be right. Now, this last tweet. Look at 942 crew. They're giving Santa Clara Hoops a little beef on Twitter. They stole the kernel of distraction. They're trying to. Is this cool or not cool?
Well, I think the issue here was Santa Clara got a lot of ESPN coverage due to a pelvic thrusting hot dog in their curtain of distraction, but they have theirs about 10 rows up or so. ASU has it floor level, plus celebrities, YG, Michael Phelps. I'll give it to ASU still. Santa Clara has some work to do.
You think we're going to see this a lot often?
I'd have to imagine there's going to be an ongoing competition.
Yeah, Chaz, as a journalism major, I typically hate plagiarism, but you got to take a page out of the book of our First Lady. If you plagiarize, go all out with it. It's clearly worked out for her.
She knows what she's talking about.
All right, thanks so much, Chaz. Yeah, and Gavin, you can wrap it up for us.
We're going to flip things over to ASU basketball. Markel Fultz, the top player in the country. Washington Huskies in Tempe taking on the Sun Devils. That was Shannon Evans dancing pregame. A rare non-Fultz basket, but then Cody Justice to Jethro Tashumpa. He loves Whataburger. Step back jumper, Shannon Evans, the Allen Iverson to his Ty Lue. Torian Graham tickles the twine, puts the Sun Devils up by 8, and Trey Holder, he wants to join the party, finishing it off. He had 21 points in the second half. So ASU coming off a 4-game losing streak. They overcome a big night for Markel Fultz, and now we can send it out to our own Eliav Gabai, who was there to give us his thoughts, along with Bobby Hurley's in Tempe.
Differences between ASU's game against the University of Washington and the previous 4 games were 2 things: 3-point shooting and clutch play. In the past 4 games combined, ASU shot 36% from 3-point range. Against University of Washington, they shot 44% from downtown. A pretty big difference, and it showed. Also, clutch play was a huge factor. In their past 2 or 4 games, Utah and USC, the more winnable games, down the stretch, ASU just did not perform well. against UW, they held off a great shooting performance late by Markelle Fultz, Washington superstar. And it turned out pretty well for them getting the W because they had a big lead, but they kept it, which was the most important part for the squad. Now, moving into Sunday, they're playing against Washington State. We'll see if this keeps up. But for now, from Wells Fargo Arena, I'm Eliav Gabay, Cronkite Sports.
The road against 3 top, 25 teams, and we were in those games, but just getting back here, having a couple days to get ready for this, and knowing it was a crucial part of the season to for both teams, just where we both were in the standings. So it was a great win.
Ask a sample around town the sport that comes to mind when they think Arizona State sports. A newly renovated stadium, ASU's a football school, of course. National titles speak for themselves on the baseball diamond. James Harden went here. It must be a basketball school. How about a pair known as the Valencia brothers, taking over the wrestling scene in Tempe? The pair of brothers are freshmen, redshirt freshmen, brought to the school by head coach Zeke Jones, where they're 3-time California State champions in high school, and now they're tearing up the college scene. They rank in the top 10 nationally for their respective weight classes, with Sahid Valencia atop the 174-pound class. The brothers are not selfish either, trading off the title Pac-12 Wrestler of the Week in back-to-back weeks this month. And well, let me just tell you, they're good. You don't want to mess with them. And we can take a look now at the upcoming calendar for Arizona State. They dropped their first Pac-12 match to Stanford earlier on, but here's a look at the upcoming road trip. Number 3 Illinois coming into Tempe on Sunday, actually, and then followed by the trip up to Corvallis, Oregon on February 5th.
It's that time of year we all know and love when the best high school football players in the country sign away their lives for 4 years for the price of a free college education and not a cent more. That's right, it's signing day. Considering all the coaching turnover, the Sun Devils have actually put together a relatively strong group, led by 4-star signal caller Ryan Kelly and tailback Eno Benjamin. They even beat Bama for a player. Granted, it was a kicker, but hey, small victories. The Sun Devils have a chance to close strong as they remain in contention for highly coveted talent such as Arizona's best offensive tackle, Austin Jackson. For all the coverage leading up to and through signing day, head over to cronkitesports.com to see how ASU finishes up.
ASU lacrosse is back in action, beginning spring practices in their second season under head coach Todd McRobbie. All season, Cronkite Sports will be your spot for ASU and MCLA coverage. Now, our lacrosse reporter Blaine McCormick is at practice with the preseason look at the players and coaches to keep an eye on this season.
Thanks, guys. The new year has brought a lot of new faces to Tempe, Arizona, including 12 new freshman recruits, but fans can expect to see a lot of the same tendencies from last year. The attack of the Sun Devils is going to remain the 3-headed monster it was last season, with Captain Rhett Rogers, Jake Marthins, and Patrick Haviland taking up-tempo offense and flying off those frequent shots. Look for Haviland to get a lot of reps this season as he finished with 20 goals and 10 assists in his freshman year. As for the newbies, Arizona State has 12 freshmen listed on their roster, like I mentioned before, and the team has also introduced 2 new assistant coaches in Justin Straker and Jeff Wasson. Straker is a familiar face with the Sun Devils as he played for the team for 3 years under then-coach Chris Malone. Jeff Wasson was an assistant coach for 2 years at Clark University in Massachusetts. Wasson also played for Clark University as a 2-time all-conference selected attackman. For head coach Todd McRobbie's second season as head coach, it'll be an interesting one as they open up as at home against Florida State University. From Tempe, Arizona, I'm Blaine McCormick reporting for Cronkite Sports Live.
Good stuff, Blaine. Thanks so much. Out at ASU lacrosse practice, it's time for The Way It Is. We're not just guys that read teleprompters. We know a thing or two about ASU sports, so we're going to show it to you in our The Way It Is segment. 3 questions for each of us. We'll answer them to the best of our ability. Our producers get to choose, actually, who speaks their mind to you in the end. So, Gavin, we'll go ahead and toss it over to you first. With basketball, a sport I know you hold close to your heart. So ASU men's team, they have a big road ahead in the Pac-12. What's a top team right now at UCLA, Arizona that they could potentially beat down the road?
You know, Andrew, the realistic answer is probably none of them, but I'm going to give you one because you're an optimistic team.
All right,
I'm going to go with UCLA.
Okay.
For all their talent on offense, they have some definitive deficiencies on the defensive end. And, you know, Torian Graham gets hot, Trey Holder gets hot, the Fighting Hurleys pulled it off last year, so I think they can do it again. You are fresh, and I mean fresh off ASU Media Day. Literally literally like 3 hours ago. Who do you see as a breakout player on this baseball team?
You know, going into it, I thought head coach Tracy Smith would say a pitcher, something along those lines, but he mentioned how Gage Canning, just a sophomore outfielder now, is really taking on that leadership role for a number of the incoming freshmen that they have. He had a great season last year, batting over 300. Again, as a true freshman, he could be the big piece that takes leadership on this team, acts as like a captain down the road. All right, Gavin, we'll toss it over to you. You're on the call for ASU Wrestling. Illinois coming into town this weekend. They're number 13 in the country. How do you see that match working out?
You know, my heart says to go with the maroon and gold, but with gray suits comes great objectivity. So I'm going with the Fighting Illini. They have the best wrestler in the country, Isaiah Martinez, won national titles his first 2 years at the school. I know the Valencia brothers are great. I don't see anyone who can compete with that. ASU women's basketball, they've been struggling of late. Our own Drew Andre just broke that down, losing 2 of their last 3 games. How do they do on this LA road trip?
Yeah, a little bit of an unexpected skid, but the Pac-12 is competitive. I think they beat UCLA tonight out on the road. UCLA is coming off just a 4-point win against their Los Angeles counterparts, the USC Trojans, and USC is at 1-7 in the conference right now, so they're not a good team by any means. UCLA barely beat them. I think they'll have a little bit of extra motivation on their side tonight. ASU will, and they halt that 2-game skid, get back to winning ways. All right, Gavin, last question over to you. We go to the ice rink. ASU hockey recently blew out Southern New Hampshire in an 11-0 game. So it got me thinking, what's the biggest blowout that you've ever been a part of?
You know, Andrew, there's any number of games I could have mentioned, but I want to go back to my freshman year, intramural basketball. We lose a game by 74 points. They quite literally break the scoreboard. It was no longer functional at the end of that game, and that is really when I discovered my love of anchoring.
My goodness.
So Andrew, we keep talking about all the attrition on the football staff, but I really think it's the softball one we should be concerned about. They've had 3 head coaches in the last 4 years. The new woman for the job is Trisha Ford. Do you think she can pull it off?
Yeah, one thing to lose a coordinator, a whole nother to go through 3 different head coaches. Trisha Ford, though, I think brings the leadership that this ASU team needs. She won the Mountain West at Fresno State each of the last 2 seasons. She's a proven Division I winner. Now she ups her ante into the Pac-12, and I think she's going to offer a presence, and a long presence at that ASU softball needs to be successful in the long run. So, all right, that does it for our questions. We'll now put our fate in the hands of the producers to see who wins.
I'm hoping for a little bit of beginner's luck here, maybe the boost.
Oh, there we go.
Andrew, that is a classic case of alternative facts.
It might be. Give me by the river. All right, so I still want to talk a little more ASU basketball. I hear a lot of talk around town that the first full season of Bobby Hurley's coaching career at ASU has been not a success. He did lose his #1 recruit to Kansas, but with a 3-5 record, this ASU team is not done yet. On Wednesday, in front of one of the biggest crowds of the season, ASU took on Washington. The usual stone-faced point guard, Trey Holder, rallied off 11 straight points and got the crowd on its feet, showcasing emotion he's never done before. The players on this team believe they can win, as does the coaching staff. And in NCAA basketball, no season is over until the postseason tournament is over. ASU could lose every conference game from here on out, run the table in Las Vegas, and find themselves in the NCAA tournament. So give it some time, folks. It'll pan out. Nothing's ever over until it's over, in the famous words of Yogi Berra. That's the way it is.
So Andrew's clearly the best of the 2 of us, but now the best of ASU sports, and it's a lot of basketball. Shannon Evans, the little whoop-de-doo to Obi Oleka, the 2-handed flush on the finish. He's their only big, and rumor is one of 3 guys on the team that can dunk.
All right. Now you saw Shannon Evans with the assist. Now he steps back and drills the 3. We need one more look at that. Steps back, goes to the corner. Look at the face of Dominic Green. He was an ASU recruit, then chose to go to Washington, and Shannon Evans gives him a response like that.
And he has to be regretting it, or rather not regretting it, because now he doesn't have to play Shannon Evans in practice every day.
There you go.
All right, the Sun Devils under those bright Hollywood lights. Torian Graham, the one-handed windmill. And I think this play was the perfect microcosm of ASU basketball season. It looks really, really good, but it ends in a loss.
And those are great top plays. We made the show look good, I think, but also a win at the same time, I'd have to say. Good job. First time at the desk, Gavin Shaw.
And remember, if you missed our resident football fan, Zach Pockleb, he'll be back the next time we have a show with newcomer Bailey O'Carroll. For Andrew Chapman, I'm Gavin Shaw. For continued coverage of ASU sports, keep it with CronkiteSports.com, at Cronkite Sports on Twitter. And remember, always hold your follow-through.